in the studio today. But Stephanie Coleman is in the house. Who's Stephanie Coleman? Well, you know what? I've got to introduce Stephanie the right kind of way, so I actually wrote it down. Okay, Stephanie, founder of Tre Magazine, Stephanie Coleman. Stephanie Coleman, founder and publisher of the Tre Magazine, is no stranger to either KPFT 90.1 FM Houston or Politics Done Right, PDR. Of course, she has been a part of the Open Journal Talk program for a very, 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 very long time. Stephanie appeared on PDR during the depths of the COVID-19 pandemic. At the time, I had moved in with my daughter in Washington, D.C. as she was recovering from her second stroke. And as usual, Miss Coleman was inspiring. She even inspired my daughter. Many magazines, for various reasons, were unable to survive and thrive through the ordeal, but she did. And it was no easy task. And today she tells her story and gives us some positive affirmation about the art of perseverance and more. Specifically, folks, let me tell you, if you think things are going wrong or whatever, let's talk to Stephanie. Stephanie Coleman, welcome to Politics Done Right. How you doing, my friend?
I am wonderful. So glad to be here as always. Yes. I love your energy. I got to work on my R's.
You know what? I do. You know what? I like to do that for kind of like, because I can say without rolling the R's, but I just like to play around.
I love it.
Keep people entertained. You know what I mean? Because you want people to listen and have a reason that, that crazy dude that said those things.
I love it. I'm glad to be here.
But so what's going on, my dear?
I really am glad to be here. Glad to actually be here in person.
Yes.
Last time we spoke, you really we laugh at it now and we look back as if we knew. But we didn't know if we were ever going to come back to this space at one point. We didn't know if we were going to physically be in front of each other ever again. So I'm glad for you holding tight and being resilient. And Tre Magazine is out.
We are not talking about me being resilient. We're talking about you being resilient. Let's not try to throw the stuff around, okay? We're talking about you. Stephanie, let me tell you what impressed me most of all is I think I'd gotten an email from you or something, and I said, hey, can I get you on the show? Because I know a lot of these magazines doing the kind of things that you're doing, they're not surviving.
Yes.
And you found a way to actually make this sort of stuff work.
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
I had to look back and say very much like the spirit of KPFT, which is why it is amazing that we all support and we all become members and we all give as we can. Mm-hmm. The thing that I think we were doing different as publications is that we forgot to have conversations with our readers.
Right.
So we got in the business of saying, I'm the only voice that matters. I'm the publication of choice, and you're going to read me regardless. And that is where I think we went wrong. That we stopped listening and start growing because people tell you what they want to read, not what you want to force them to read.
I am so happy you said that. That is so important for us to know us even here. I mean, when I said I wanted you to tell us the kind of stuff that kept you alive, those are the kinds of things that keep a KPFT alive.
Yes.
Realizing that it's not just about what you think you want.
Yep.
But what the people that are listening to you actually want. So tell me more.
So as we look through and I said, okay, Tre came out of the 3rd Ward of Houston, Texas, a chance to give community a voice, as very much as KPFT gives voice. How do we have that conversation? And I have to be humbled enough to say, well, I don't agree with that, but there's still a place for that voice. I don't necessarily own all the stories in the publication. I showcase them. I celebrate that there's a different way of experiencing this life.
Right.
But I don't make it all my point of view.
Right.
And I'm a little disturbed and like, well, that's a different way of thinking about it. But there are different people on the planet. There are different views. There are different ways. And if we don't have those hard conversations and allow each other a place to safely be yourself, then we can't grow as a community. We can't grow as a city.
And that is what is so important. I try to keep that same mantra in what we do here at Politics Done Right. I don't agree with all the folks that are here. Hell, last week we had a good Republican on doing some good stuff with Nam. And I was like, we don't share ideology, but I believe it or not, just in being with the guy, I liked him.
And Stephanie, I'm looking at your publication, and it's a beautiful it's like a buffet, a banquet of wonderful things to look at and ideas and all sorts of things that, they're happening in Houston.
Yeah.
And we can find them. And this is like, it's a taste of all those things that once you get a little bit of that appetite for some of these things, you're going to go find them on your own.
Yes.
And it brings it to you, and it's all happening now.
Oh, thank you. Well, that is what I love about this synergy. And for those, of course, it is Pledge Week, so definitely support Politics Done Right and KPFT, because what I hope, when I first started the magazine and I moved to Houston, I wanted what I guess could best be described as a KPFT experience, an idea that was inclusive, but it came from an opinion of mine, right? Like, I'm an African-American woman born in the South. I have a lens that I've experienced in life. So I want to be true to that, but I want to have an experience with other people. And when I'd go around and I'd say, look, hey, you can advertise and be a part of that thing. Well, that does not exist. You cannot have 3-4 races in one publication. You cannot have 2 to 3 philosophies in this one publication. If it's for women of this demographic and this age, that works. But it's for anything other than that, we don't understand it, and it's not gonna. So it's taken me years to finally just say, you know what, it does work, because it's working right here.
Right.
It's working in this studio, right now.
Here. Exactly.
And we were denying that as journalism. We were denying that as a business model. We were denying that as a truth, even though we lived it out daily. So when you say, like, how do we thrive? How do we support? How did we grow? I think, even to my own surprise, we're growing because we're being honest to the way we're living and not saying we need to live the way we were told we're living, segregated, and we need to live the way we're told we are, fighting, and we need to live the way we are, divisive. That's actually not the case. I mean, of course, there are those nuances, but if you think about your full day and your full week, you spend more time in community with others than you spend in conflict. And let's talk about the community with others versus the 10% conflict taking up 90% of our energy.
I see why I had her on.
Connect and communicate. That's what it's about. And to bring people together in such a way that we see what people are enjoying with each other, and those things bring enjoyment to each other, and pretty soon we're all doing better.
We are.
You know what is so important as you say that, as both of you say that, right, is that many of us, and I think you articulated it best, it is what we want.
Yeah.
But it's what's not placed on us. It's how there are these forces that are trying to, you and I were talking about woke and all of that in the car as we were driving here. There are all these forces that are trying to put all these things into the ethos to really keep us separate. And that's a business decision. A lot of people don't get it. Now, we're not talking specifically Politics Done Right here in politics on this issue, but believe it or not, all these issues are in fact to keep us separate, because it's a business decision that they, by sparsing things out, some can profit from it.
And we have a lot of work to do with the environment, with politics, with things to make our life better, but it's just absolutely imperative that we enjoy and get happy and together and do the good things that make us get along better in the end, and fix things along the way.
And you know what's so funny, Bruce? It feels so much better.
Yep.
It is amazing, because for those people who like hating on others, right?
Yeah.
You go home and your blood boiling and you're pissed, all of that. You loving on folks.
Yeah.
There's no it's only good stuff that come out of it. Alistair Waters, to you, Stephanie.
Okay.
I see your humanity. That's one of our online, regulars here. Yay! Yes, and thank you. If it weren't for you, Alistair, I would have forgotten that I didn't put it on the internet. So
thank you.
I tell you, he can tell you about our PDR posse. We are like a collage and a team of crazy folks, good folks, all kind of folks. And whenever I screw up, every single one of them remember to tell me that I screwed up, whether it's on the right, on the left, on the middle, or anything else.
Matter.
And they make sure to let me know. So
it's a marvelous potpourri.
But we want to speak a little bit more on the issue as far as what made you, what. I've seen a lot of these publications come and go, and we've been here at KPFT for a long time. I've seen you doing this and bringing all these things for years.
Yes.
And it's still here.
Yes.
For that person that is listening to us out here, that they have some sort of a business of this type, they have some sort, what would you tell them as far as your perseverance is concerned? Because there are many reasons for you to have just said, you know what, I'm a hell of a graphic designer. I don't have to do this. I can go ahead and make me six figures anywhere.
So the funny part is I've said all of that.
Right.
Right. I mean, I think you have to remember that you are human.
Yes.
And that you get frustrated and you get tired and you get, sort of disenchanted that people don't see it, or that maybe you're wrong and that you see it. So I've had those days, I've had those weeks, but I think you just have to know, and it'll call you back. Right. It calls you back and you quit again and it calls you back.
Yes.
But you can't sleep without doing the work that you're called to do, and just keep doing your homework, keep evolving. I think you have to also not be so rigid with your own vision. So the magazine has taken, as you've seen, many forms and everything. It's been small, it's been big, it's been round, it's been online, it's been, I found print.
Well, it's still online. Because I read it online all the time. Yeah.
But to know that you too have to evolve with your vision. And I've been amazed that I do a small book and some people love it because it fits in their pocket. Other people, I hate it because it's small. And I do a big book and it's the same math, but a different word. But just stay the course. Know that you have a lifetime to figure it out. And if we were more primal in the way we think of ourselves, right? We're above primal behavior, but we're not. We're not. But as nature does, you move with the seasons. And if you're not like, I stand here only.
That is something that I had to learn, and it was very difficult to learn, and that is not to be rigid. Being an engineer, it is hard not to just look at things from a math perspective. Yesterday, I had somebody online. They are very rigid in the way they think about things like monetary policy and all of that. And this guy is absolutely right. And I'm sitting down there like, I know you're right, but I can't talk like that. Because most people aren't there. And whereas in the past, that's how I would be. I'm no longer. So, being around a whole lot of folks that have different methodologies in the way they think, even being around, like when I see how you do your stuff, it's like, oh, wait a minute. If she can mix up all this stuff like that, maybe it's not all that bad. So if you notice right now, even on Politics Done Right, we're doing things like bringing in somebody that does nothing about politics. I had guys that come in with books that talk about many other issues as well. It changes the attention.
It changes the attention. You know? But that requires that openness to know that the world is big.
Yes, true.
Yeah, that is big. So,
And then, but you know what? The other thing, it also, I think, and you tell me if you agree, it shows you that all people are multifaceted. They're not one-dimensional. They're multidimensional.
Yeah. And that's what the marketing, the business, capitalism, all of that is really struggling with.
Right.
Because it's really segmented. It's math.
Right.
And if you look at the big publications that are dying, it's because it said, you two will never be in the same room because you like this and you like that. And there's no common ground. Well, actually, there's bigger common ground than one would think. And if you as a publication, I would almost say, wouldn't be lazy, right? And
actually, that is the word, right? It's easy to keep doing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, but it takes time for me to get to know Egberto versus getting to know Bruce, sorry. Because I have to put forth the effort to say, well, Bruce likes this music in this time, but Bruce is open to this other music at this time. And Egberto speaks more than one language, and his understanding. I have to put forth work as a publication. That is not lazy on my part, right?
Well, you do the work.
You have to do the work.
Well, it's the art. It's the way that you put the things together, and using your art, you cry out from the page, we're here. We're together, and it's beautiful.
Oh, yeah, indeed.
I'm going to make you a poet. Stephanie, all right. Now, as far as your magazine is concerned, tell us a little bit about Oh, wait, go ahead.
So I'm just interested, how does somebody get one of these things?
Yeah, so we have expanded. Technology has fused. We put them in stores and places all around the city, from libraries to restaurants to grocery stores to radio stations such as KPFT. But we have also expanded to where you can now buy them online through Amazon.
Oh.
So this is a soft cover book. You could go to our website, thetreMag.com. If you want one, we could sort of send them out if you're not in this area. But a hardcover book is now available as a coffee table collector's book through Amazon.
That is great, because this does so much for this is, and you said, I'm out of the third ward here in Houston, but I mean, it's interesting because I went through this stuff and saw that it covers all over the darn place. And, it is like, I think it is, I think when we're talking about what we do in, that business to social responsibility field, you don't get to do that commercially. And it, when you see something like that, you say, it can work. It can work. But
it's a dance, right? So this artwork is a local artist on the cover. The talent, the stories are national and international, because Tre is a microcosm of the planet.
I saw KPFT in there.
KPFT is in there as well. Because the Tre is more of the spirit of the people, of a certain sort of collective consciousness, than just a physical location, right? There are people who share a value system. So I remember bringing this to the Dominican Republic, and the people who I met wanted a copy, and I was like, it's like really in English, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to learn my Spanish here, but they could relate to the feeling of it, even if the language was a barrier.
The pictures are not in English. The pictures are in what were they call that? Esperanto. Man. I mean, they just, like I said, it's just a beautiful buffet that you just want to eat another page.
And that, to me, that's beautiful to hear, because I've always hoped that the humanity would shine through, right? That the fact that we have more in common would shine through.
Well, so there's just more to you than just a graphics designer.
Yeah, there's a little more.
There's a heart full of love.
Yeah, like I said. By the way, Eric says hi, Bruce.
Hey, Eric.
All these are the part of we have all this big posse out there that I go at 3:00. We'll have a rumble going,
and we go at each other pretty tough too.
Heavy.
Yeah,
I'm the middle of the road guy, so I'm trying to balance what's on the left and the right, and then that fulcrum point is so sharp that I don't know where I am from one moment to the next.
Now that we've given you a lot of kudos about this wonderful magazine that you've had out there for quite some time now, let's talk about what kind of advice you give to people who want to make a difference in community, because your magazine is instantiation of what you are doing for community. And I mean, like I said, you could make a hell of somebody with this ability to create this, you could make a hell of a lot of money for somebody else right now.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about community. Why is it that you are doing this?
Well, I think the interesting part is you look up and realize that you have a capacity to see things differently. And with seeing it, you do have a responsibility. And I went to one event. So with the magazine, with media, you're in a bunch of different places in one day. And so I went to a community center event that was mostly African-American at Shape Community Center in 3rd Ward. My next event was like in the Woodlands for suburban Republican housewives for something. Like it couldn't have been more polar opposite.
Right.
But they had the exact same agenda.
Exactly.
Right? Because the African American community in 3rd Ward had received, let's say, a certain type of issue with justice, with sort of poison in their community, and that. Then I go to the other side with the judges and the mothers in Memorial and the other individuals in Woodlands who have the same dilemma, but it's hidden in these big houses, right? Who have the same dilemma with their children who were losing to opioids. It was the same story. I was like, if they could just realize beyond the barriers that divide us, that they have the exact same fight, right? And they have the exact same hurt. and the exact same injustice. If we could bridge those conversations. So I would sort of complain about, if people would just know it, if people would just say, and someone said, and I was like, if someone would just do something about it, and someone said, you, right? Exactly. Why don't you do something about it?
Exactly. I got a familiar story, but I'm not going to talk about it. You keep on it, girl.
Right, but that's the thing. And the magazine gets credit, but it's really the work of the people that are in it. I get credit for curating it. But when you read the Tre, it's you, right? It's you. It's the listeners. It's people who are doing things on a daily basis, from the 8th grader who's helping to give food to the food bank, to the 88-year-old who is also still fighting this good fight for environmental justice. What we try to do is not have the talking heads, not have the celebrities, but remind you as a mirror back to yourself that you are the change you've been waiting for. Like you are actually doing the work that we have sort of given responsibility to someone else. And if you can see it, if you can look and say, oh, I know her, I know him, I've seen him, or that's someone's cousin, you can be empowered to realize we are moving the needle, right? We're moving it one day I'm going to find this image. But there's a picture, it was something in the Middle East, and there's hundreds of mothers and children, like as far as you can see. And the cameraman is on top of this wall. And on the right-hand side, the left-hand side is just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. Like they go out of the frame. And the right-hand side is 2 men holding the door back. 2 men holding, it was like a food bank that they were trying to get into. And if those people knew how strong they were individually against these 2 men, the willpower that we began to release and say, oh no, but this wall is too big and there's this big machine. No, it's all the will of the people against percentage-wise 2 and 3 people.
I want you to find that picture, because that is something that makes a lot of sense even for when we're doing our programs here, because that is the biggest fear of, right now people don't want to talk about critical thinking and all the critical race theory and all these issues, right? The biggest fear is that people see who a lot of times we were and say that's not who we are. This is how we were, that's not who we are.
Right.
And in saying that's not who we are, we start to really come together.
Yeah.
You know how scary that is?
Yes.
For those who depend on us being the value, you know how scary that is?
Yes. And that is the part why even one pledge, one donation, one drop makes the difference, because there becomes this overflow when we all sort of unite around the one good thing that we believe in, right? We can be different on a lot of levels, but you cannot deny that what you're doing on KPFT, what KPFT, that one drop in this bucket is why we're still here, because someone gave 5 years ago and someone gave 8 years ago. That is why we have a chance to talk about Social Security, why we have a chance to really make a difference. So I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to be one drop wherever I can be. And I think if the listeners would just really know that, contrary to the way the other media makes you feel that your voice doesn't matter, that here on KPFT, one drop in Tre, your one drop changes the way the world rotates.
That is absolutely true. We're coming close to the end of the show, and we're going to do a little bit more pitching. So what I want to ask Stephanie, first of all, is give us a closer and a word of wisdom, because I tell you what, you're a wise woman. And
and Egberto always says, what didn't we ask you that we should have?
I love my brother. I love my brother. I
stole his line, right?
And he did it in front of me, man. He did it in front of me, man.
The ultimate cheap shot.
Okay, but actually, answer his cheap shot, please.
Well, I think what you didn't ask is the same thing that we ask of our listeners. What more can you do? Right? And I think that's what keeps me going is that you both and the listeners in KPFT and those who read would ask me, what else can I do more? What else can I do better? What else can I do to help so that I can go back? And I need to look at that always.
It's Gene Hackman in the Poseidon Adventure. After all the things that happen, he looks up and he says, what more must I do? Why are you asking me to do all these things? But once you do them and you take a deep breath, the joy is there.
Yeah. No, it really is. So I think what I wasn't asked is what else can. And I think my assignment is always to look back and say, how can I be better next time I come on air? How can I have brought more support next time I come on air? How can I be a bigger drop, more drop, bring other drops? And I just want you, the listeners, to hold me accountable, that I can keep rising, that we can keep growing, that I can stay honest, that I can stay true. Because it's easy to waver. It's easy to look at a check and say, so why am I doing this again?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But it's also hard to sleep when you compromise it all. And I'm not against, funding. I'm not against people making prosperity. But if you can make a difference as well as make prosperity, then I think we're living a good life.
That is Stephanie Coleman. So she's no stranger to us here. She's no stranger to Politics Done Right at all. Bruce, thank you so kindly for coming in here.
Egberto, thank you. And Stephanie, you made my day. It's great.
Thank you.
That's her, man. That.
She's the day maker. Yeah.
I'm gonna put that on my card.
Yeah. Stephanie Coleman, Tre Magazine founder, publisher, and what is it? Daymaker. We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number 1, subscribe to our channel. And number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.